Now I'm going to select boilers. But just like before, where you could go through and select the check boxes, you can also do one more thing. You can use the text filters for contains, or I prefer, in an easier fashion, just typing boiler into the search bar above the filter set and clicking OK. By doing this, clearly I see all of my boilers there, but there's one more step. I only want to exclude boilers that have a better than 75 CI. They're the ones that are least likely to fail. So if I move over to the CI column, I'm going to set a number filter that has greater than or equal to 75, and I'll click OK. Now I only have assets that are boilers in good condition. I'm going to scroll over to my exclusion columns. I'll type in the 21st of December, followed up by the 12th of January. I will select my cells. I'll copy, select the entire columns for those tables, and click Paste Values. Just as before, this will take a while, but we're nearing the end of this process, and relatively speaking, this is still a very short amount of time than if you were to try to do this manually, entering it into iWIMS. Now, I have all of my non-boiler assets and all of my good condition boilers removed from the holiday season. Now let's move to the Analysis Tools tab and recalculate. We now have a nice rounded PM schedule. At the holiday season, it looks like we might be able to accomplish it, and you'll see how we manage that through the mitigation strategy. But for now, it suffices to say you can use those exclusion zones to make sense of your schedule for seasonal changes. The next part of the process is somewhat humorous when put into a certain light. The fact is, we've used technology to something like its fullest in order to get this far. And then the next part merely involves a piece of paper and pen. Clearly what we're seeing here is a printout of the schedule that we've worked on to this point. We can see that our holiday season is covered and that we're ready to start mitigating. So I'm going to start from the left and look at this peak where I notice that 17 hours have gone over. I'm selecting those 17 hours and saying I'm going to perform them a week late, but there's not enough room in the following week, so I'm going to carry 17 hours from that week forward as well. I'll do this for the second peak that I see, but in this case, I'll daisy chain the 58 hours through the next 2 weeks instead. So these dots mean that each week will have an additional 58 hours postponed. For the third peak that breaches the threshold, I'm actually going to select zone 2 hours so that I'll keep my zones consistent. From this next peak, I want to perform 17 hours from zone 1 late by 1 week. But in order to make room for those hours, I want to take 17 plus the additional 27 over in that week forward of zone 2 assets. So while I'm only moving 17 hours forward of zone 1 assets, the additional 27 hours needed to clear that second week means I'll be performing 44 hours of zone 2 assets late by 1 week. Combining two of the previous examples, I'll take the 28 hours that I have over of zone 1 assets, bring those forward, pick up a few from zone 2, perform those late, and perform zone 3 assets